Judge Andrew Napolitano. He was a New Jersey Superior Court judge. Judge, I understand you have a hard out here in 4 minutes, so let's get straight to it. I'd like to start off with whether or not you were surprised by the turn of events yesterday. As a judge, last hour I spoke to an attorney who says this happens all the time, and he was the first person I'd ever heard say that. What say you? How common is it that a high-profile plea deal like this completely derails in the 11th hour?
Good morning, Mark. It's a pleasure to be on with you. It's a lot more common than you think, and I agree with whoever told you on the last hour this happens all the time. In my career, I accepted about 1,500 guilty pleas. I would say 12 to 15% of them fall apart in the courtroom when they are being laid out. Often the defendant doesn't read the terms of the guilty plea. Often the defendant doesn't understand it. Sometimes the defendant is asked to plead guilty to something that he didn't do in order to avoid the greater charge. Sometimes the defendant is asked to plead guilty to something that isn't even a crime. So judges look at this two ways. One category of judges says, look, I'm a judge. My job is to resolve disputes. When the two sides, the government and the defendant, come into my courtroom and there's no dispute and they agree, bingo, I'm going to rubber stamp it and let them go. The other category of judges, in which this judge fits and in which I sat, says, wait a minute, my job is to do the right thing. I'm not going to let somebody tell me under oath that they committed a crime that they didn't commit in order to get rid of another crime. And I'm not going to let them plead guilty to something that might be unconstitutional. So Go back to your offices, get rid of the emotion, get rid of the press, get rid of your client. Just work this out and come back to me.
Yeah, hard to do that when you saw the media circus that was outside yesterday. It's hard to get rid of all the exterior distraction. How much do you think the judge took into account the IRS whistleblowers' testimony that we heard last week?
I hope not at all, because that was not properly before her. The efforts by, even though I have a lot of friends on the Republican House Ways and Means Committee in the House of Representatives, the efforts by Congress to intervene here were absolutely inappropriate. The Constitution couldn't be clearer. Congress has nothing to do with criminal prosecutions. If Congress thinks it has evidence of crimes that Hunter Biden committed, the proper thing to do is to submit it to the prosecutor, not to try and enter not try and enter into the middle of a guilty plea.
I know I only have a few seconds left with you, sir. The judge said we're coming back in 30 days. I need more information. How likely is it that the judge will agree to a new plea deal then? And what would that have to include?
Well, Hunter Biden is entitled under something called the entire controversy doctrine to know all the charges against him, the full universe of those charges. So the government's going to have to lay them out, and they're going to have to cut a deal that affects all of them. If they want to do it piecemeal, the court will go along with that, but there can't be any surprises. Can they do that? Time will tell.
We'll see.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.